Hey Huskies and friends, Wagwan. How is this last lap going? I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling a little soup pressure. If you know, you know. But better yet, let me explain. So for those of you who don't know, I am Jamaican, and growing up at sports days or any other competitive event, one way we would jeer our opponents is by singing this little jingle that says, soup, pressure, soup, pressure, ooh, under pressure, blue house, or whatever house that wasn't yours. So right now, it's giving very much pressure. But you know what really helps to relieve some of the pressure of being a student and give you that grounding feeling and sense of hope and belonging? Cultural and diversity clubs. One of the things I love about GBC is our commitment to catering to students' needs, not just the academic ones, but the cultural ones too. The ones that remind you that you're a part of something bigger than yourself. As we all know by now, GBC is a multicultural and extremely diverse school. I mean, you have me and my very Jamaican self hosting this podcast. And through our cultural and diversity clubs, we allow students to connect on another level and celebrate their many foundations and learn about the beautiful melting pot that is George Brown College. All the clubs at GBC come from the Student Association. So SA, as we would say in my culture, go and big up yourself. And I know if you follow them on any one of their social media platforms or check out the notice boards on campus, you will know about all the events, the days, the time, the place, and what to expect. The SA clubs are run by Russ Adade, who stopped by to talk with our producer Claire about some of the different clubs that we have, and here's what he had to say.
We have a variety of culture and diversity clubs. The great thing about our student clubs program is broken down to four main pillars. So we have recreational student clubs, academic-based student clubs, health and counseling-based student clubs, and social student clubs. And within each category, you will find cultural student clubs, such as, GBC OLAS, which is a club that focuses on Latin Americas, ICA, which is the Indian Cultural Association, the Muslim Student Association, which is focused, of course, within the space of the Muslim religions, nor GBC, which is focused on creating a space for Black students or people of color, creating a community for them. So there's a variety of student clubs where their primary focus is being able to create a community that share the same interests in cultural ideologies, activities, history, just some sense of like home, some sense of comfort when it comes to connecting with students.
But you might be wondering, what kinds of things do student clubs do together? What is it like to be in a student club?
Yes. So the great thing about our student clubs, for the most part, they have a certain level of autonomy or the luxury to be able to produce their own events and programming. So we have a lot of student clubs where they might do just general social events where they book a space on campus and just come together to have conversations and have food and stuff like that. And then we have other events where like they might have like a cooking night, a movie night. We have clubs that use their platform to create more awareness for particular campaigns or initiatives they really care about. So, for example, these past couple of weeks, we have certain clubs that have done book drives and a donut sale to raise money. And there's a club that's currently in the process of producing a clothing drive for folks this winter. They do like off-campus excursion, whether it's like a social event at a restaurant, whether it's going to a play, whether it's going to a sporting event. Anyway, as I mentioned prior, to come together and build a sense of community, they're very creative in terms of like how they utilize that platform. And then also they use our resources to provide some level of support.
And there's a big advantage to having your club through the Student Association, whether it's funding, outreach, and so many more.
So the good thing about the SA, we do provide funding. So clubs that are ratified, they receive upwards of $1,000 through a reimbursement process. So pretty much the process would be is club leaders will purchase items associated with their event. So for example, if a club wanted to do movie night and they want to purchase food, decorations, prizes, so they can have for the event, They'll purchase the items, keep their receipts, and then fill out online reimbursement form. And then they'll submit that to the student association. And then on average, within 2 weeks, they'll be fully reimbursed by the student association. So funding alongside access to book rooms, free printing, free postering, being able to book tables on spaces. There's a variety of resources within the SA that allows the clubs to be successful. But as ratified student clubs, they do receive funding from the student association, and they have access upwards of $1,000. Also, we share their events and their poster through our SA social media platform, which includes our Instagram page, SAGBC events, or the General Student Association Instagram page, our website, which has an events calendar, which will also include club programming. And we just launched our club's Instagram account. So that's also another space where students can get more information, get up to date with all the fun, cool things that our student clubs are doing throughout the academic year. We also have a monthly newsletter that goes out that also includes the events that are coming up that's being produced by our student clubs.
Clubs are particularly helpful for international students.
For like international students, we also have to be mindful this is their first time in the new country. So those first couple of weeks, months, even sometimes a year might be difficult for international students just because they're just away from home, they're away from comfort, they're away from folks they lived with their whole life. So this is another outlet for them to access where they can connect with other students and be able to make friends and be able to go attend events and just build that social community. So I think the clubs do serve a need for every student club, whether domestic, international, part-time, full-time.
And even if you're not an international student, Russ emphasized how connecting with a similar culture or a diversity group can be a springboard to connecting and socializing more during your time at GBC.
That's the best way to make friends, to connect with peers, to connect with professors, clubs that focus on the social aspects. So clubs are focused on similar religions, similar cultures, even similar political beliefs. We're being able to create a broad space for clubs to create things they truly care about that resonate with not solely with them, but a good amount of people during the time here at George Brown. When it comes to cultural-based student clubs, it's like a signifier language. Like our biggest thing is being able to connect with something that connects us to like comfort or we're familiar with. So like with cultural-based student clubs, sometimes it's easier for students to have a better experience if they're able to connect with a club that shares the same cultural beliefs. Then that allows them to feel more comfortable on campus spaces, which could be either direct or indirect benefit to their academic career or just their social life. For example, like me, when I was a student a long time ago, I started becoming more comfortable within my respective campus as soon as I joined the student club. I had joined the Caribbean Connection Club just because I saw a variety of similarities that I grew up with. And the funny thing is, I'm technically not Caribbean, actually West African, but because I was, for the most part, born and raised in Toronto, a lot of my friends were Caribbean. A lot of the dialect I use in my everyday language was inspired by the Caribbean culture, the food, the music, the dance. So as soon as I got on to campus or at the university I attended, I felt a little bit homesick just because I'm introvert. Like I feel more comfortable with people. I already build a rapport and I already have built-in relationships. So it takes me a while to kind of like open up. So as soon as I noticed some of the few friends I had made so far were part of the student club, and once I joined the student club and I connected with more folks, being able to have a conversation was easier. It just had a broader impact of my campus life experience, you know? Now I'm more eager to go to school, to connect with folks. I see a correlation into like my academic success. You know, it was a bit difficult because in high school, you might be in a class with like you and 30 other students. In university, you're in a class with like 500 students. And you're trying to figure yourself out on campus and trying to see what works for you, what doesn't work for you. But because I was able to join that student club and make friends and just have so many great memories, it just made my campus life experience a little bit easier to navigate. And I think that's why it's important to have cultural based student clubs. because they can pretty much serve as a gateway for students that are entering into George Brown College and to help ease their transition from high school into post-secondary and also make their campus life experience a little bit more memorable. As I said, I'm an introvert. And then once I got comfortable, I became an active member. Then it led to me becoming like a social coordinator. And then eventually I became the president. But if you told me that like a few years back, I'll be like, I don't think I can, you know? But because of those experiences, it helped me to become more confident.
Plus, having fun and meeting people can help you with your job search later on. Remember that networking we talked about some weeks ago? Yeah, that's the place to do it.
Being part of a club is a great way to broaden your horizon, especially once they graduate. It helped me to acquire new skills, build relationships, how to communicate better with folks, to see how things are organized behind the scenes from a logistical standpoint is something they can add to their resume. Because when future employers are seeking employees, one of the things they look for is the experience that you gain outside the classroom. And there's so much things you can learn, so much skills that could be obtained just solely being involved with student clubs.
Russ also pointed out how you could start your own club if you see a gap that needs to be filled.
If you have an interest in creating your own student club, we highly encourage all our students, and it could be anything. If you want to create the pizza club, we will support and fund it. So in regards to starting a student club, they can go on our student association website and then click on the clubs page, which is under services. And we have a dedicated page, and within that page, it will show you the steps how to create a club. So essentially, you will download a PDF file. It's 2 pages. And ideally, to start a club, all you need is 3 student executives to serve as execs for the club, and then also get 10 additional students to sign up. So we see a general interest in the club that you're creating. I always tell students when it comes to getting students to sign up, the minimum is 10, but ideally get as many as you can because that's going to be your foundation, especially if you're a new club and you haven't really built your base or your community yet. It goes a long way if you're able to get 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 students to sign up, because that would be your base when it comes to reaching out to students when you're having events, programming, meetings, webinars, seminars. And then also you provide proposed events that you're planning to do throughout the school year, as well as your proposed budget, the cost associated with the programming, alongside a constitution form, which you can also find on our SA website. And once you fill out those documents, it usually takes 1 to 2 weeks for our clubs committee to review your application. Majority of the times, like 95% of the times, our student clubs get approved. You receive a confirmation email from me confirming that you've been officially ratified by the Student Association and you're allowed to access our resources and you're allowed to start function as a student club on campus.
So don't be afraid to start your own club if you have an idea or a topic you want to connect with other students on.
And then when it comes to students that are interested in joining student clubs, you can go on the Student Association website page. There's a directory list of all our current ratified student clubs. Each club has their own email, so you can reach out to the club directly. When it comes to becoming an active member in the club, there's no membership fee for students. It's all free. They're technically paid that service through their tuition. So all the program events that are being produced by our clubs is free for George Brown students. They'll let them know about upcoming events, meetings, how to be involved. And they have their own platforms into like where they can get all the up-to-date information that's directly connected to their respective student clubs. As well as to find out more about student clubs outside of our website, they can go on our Instagram page, clubs_sagbc.ca, Event Squad Instagram page as well. And those are the direct platforms when it comes to students that are interested in joining any of our student clubs.
The fun really never stops at GBC. There is always something happening. And not only is something happening for you. And if it isn't happening, make it happen.
We just want to be able to create a stronger community and try to provide students with a lot more options. when it comes to our student clubs that are currently activated on our campus. Follow us on our Instagram, clubs_SAGBC, for more information. We have clubs for coming soon in the winter semester. There'll be more information being sent out in December. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you folks later on throughout the school year.
I should also add that aside from clubs through the Student Association, the Student Life team at George Brown is big on cultural celebrations. So they do special events for the Lunar New Year, Diwali, Black History Month, Caribbean Heritage Month, Indigenous and Pride Month, and all of these are incorporated into programming of events or online content. So if you want to take part in any of those events, just hit up at gbc.studentlife on all our social media platforms. I'm so happy we have the opportunity to connect on another level as students. In a world that's so divided, cultural and diversity clubs are the perfect way to learn more about each other in a relaxed environment. And it reminds us that though we are different and that there are differences between us, there are also many similarities that help us really see each other. So look out for all the events to connect. Until next time, Huskies, be kind, keep going, we're almost at the end. Stay warm and walk good.